Hello and welcome to a brand new football podcast. I'm James Wood and introducing JG.
Hi James, it's great to be here.
As we go studs up.
Hello and welcome to Jamie's Monologue. This is the part of the show where basically we go James free for the next, I don't know, as long as possible, I'm hoping. Just take a sip of water there. I thought we'd just introduce the show today. Well, I would introduce the show today, seeming as James has pretty much wet himself with excitement at the prospect at the prospect of doing the show today, which I can understand. You know, I'm a pretty attractive guy, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so I thought we're obviously going to do the basics today, review the weekend's fixtures, look ahead a bit to the champion.
Yeah.
Alright,
let's start, boy.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I just started just then because, you know, it's always taking a while, so I thought we'd just get us rolling. And
You started. Alright.
So,
okay, I'll do the introduction now then.
what intro?
Yeah? I'll do the introduction now.
Oh,
Now we're going to start the pod.
I already did the intro, mate.
So that bit about me, that bit
What
about me pissing my pants was it?
What? Oh, you? Well, yeah, you weren't supposed to, you weren't supposed to hear that, mate. I mean, no, I was just getting a bit
God's
frustrated
sake.
because we hadn't started the pod yet, you know, and it's getting on a bit.
Well, it was you that wanted to play FIFA.
Yeah, and we did play. It was good fun. I won.
it was.
Of course, I won.
Well,
Yeah, it was kind of shit, but
it was a difficult match. But, you know, I just want to say then, this bit's probably going to be in then, so
oh yeah, we're
that
recording now.
I didn't pee myself. I never have. I never would. Right? It was a little bit of water was on the seat, and this podcast is nothing without me. I am this show. So let's do it. Let's do it now. It starts now. All right. Forget all the bollocks. Okay?
I wouldn't exactly say that you're.
Apology accepted. Apology accepted.
I never apologise, but you know, I was going to until you said the show was nothing without you, which is kind of, you know, not true.
Let's save
Considering
this.
you don't actually know anything about the topic we're supposed to be talking about here.
Let's save this for the air.
Anyway, if Raheem Sterling is listening, I hope you're doing all right back there at left back, you know, or right back, or whatever James said you played, you know. Yeah.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway,
I love football. Like, you know, way before you even knew. Was it?
what?
I loved it when you were supporting Wigan. Or is that supposed? Are we not supposed to talk about that? Are we?
What? Mate, I've loved football
You just
as a
started
whole. You know, I'm not just. I haven't spent the last 18 years of my life, 19 years kissing for Sir Alex Ferguson's arse.
Ferguson is a saint. Okay, he is a saint. He's a knight of the realm, and to a 70-year-old
I can't even say it with a straight
a
face.
70-year-old man to bring his arse into it is pathetic. But let's start the pod. Right.
Yeah, United suck. Yeah, so basically, let's just start talking about
The
weekend's
weekends.
games and fantastic performance again by
Arsenal.
Who was it who dived this week again for United?
Oh yeah, Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, Welbeck. Great dive. Great dive, Danny.
Okay, well, seeing as we're there, we're going to do this week's Tom Daly Award for obviously the dive of the week. Now,
The nominations.
I'm gonna throw into the hat Luis Suarez on this.
Oh yeah. No.
But he did get a booking. He did get a booking, and I think
Making his 15th appearance
on the Tom Daly Award,
in our second show.
he's very much the Lance Armstrong of the Tom Daly Award.
Yeah, they actually. He was actually offered a place on the Uruguayan diving team for this year's Olympics.
But they said some of his stuff was too theatrical.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't quite have the grace, does he? You know.
Well, no, and it was also was also a chance to stretch him off from under the water. But anyway, so I think we will give that to Suarez so that we can give the Specsavers Award to that refereeing decision in relation to Welbeck.
There was a bit of contact though.
What, the Welbeck?
No, with Suarez. Was a little bit.
I'm not sure about that. Yes, but this is what we were discussing about the Defoe incident at the Ukraine game. If there is contact and yet the player makes a massive meal of it, should that be ruled as a dive or a foul? Does the player forfeit their right to a foul there?
I'm not sure about that, but that's sort of another issue, really. I mean, what we're saying here is there was contact, and you're admitting that there was a bit of contact, whereas Welbeck there was absolutely none. Suarez got booked for diving, which maybe you could see was a good decision or maybe not, but I think there was no doubt that Welbeck went down without being touched at all. What perhaps he was doing running out there in the first place, I have no idea, but
I'm going to say it was more obvious that Suarez was trying to get a free kick than it was that Welbeck was trying to get a penalty. Al-Hadsi came into the path of Welbeck's run. He had to go down to stop himself it being taken out, as he thought it would be. As he
had to go down.
He reasonably expected Al-Hadsi was going to break his legs, just sliding out.
I don't know about that.
Right? He was close to him.
I think you're making
excuses. He wasn't appealing. He wasn't appealing for a foul when he went down. He didn't go down holding anything. He didn't put his leg out to try and get a contact.
Well, maybe, but the bottom line is that there was no contact, and whether he anticipated it or not, only he knows that. But the thing is, he went down without being touched. Basically, I think that should win, but maybe we're just going to have to leave this one down to our 10 viewers to make that decision up on the side.
The audience will rule. That's democracy.
Okay.
In action. All right. Well, let's talk a bit about the United game then. United against Wigan.
Yeah.
And good victory for United. That. I mean, fairly comfortable, wasn't it?
Yeah, no real surprises here. We're expecting them to win. Wigan came into the game with no real pressure on them, and in the first half I thought they did a pretty good job actually. United looked as though they were struggling without Van Persie or Rooney or Kagler actually on the field, but they grew into the game, and once the first one went in, that was almost as though the shackles were off, and went on to score 3 more. Wigan's defending for some of the follow-up goals after the first one was pretty shambolic, but
yeah, they were.
Seemed to fall apart a bit, but
yeah, they did. They gave a good account of themselves in the first half, didn't they? Wasn't particularly bad stuff. I mean, I tweeted that they were playing well, and then was scored straight after that. Embarrassed me a little, and then it was all downhill from there. It fell apart.
Yeah,
you were right.
Well, maybe. I don't know exactly what happened there, but yeah, no, United will be happy with the 3 points, obviously, and 4-0 was, I don't know, maybe a bit generous a scoreline.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But that's what it was, and yeah, they'll be very happy to get 3 wins in a row now after that opening weekend defeat to Everton. So they're now up to second in the table, and
doing pretty well. Second favourites behind City still. In most of the bookmakers' odds, but no. So the 2 debuts for United: Alexander Butner, and that's his name, Alexander Butner, or Butner, you may prefer. Use of the
Butner.
Use of the Butner. That's what I said first. Butner, and let's not laugh at the word "but," shall we, please? But Alexander Butner and Nick Powell, who came on, scored a lovely goal, didn't he? 18-year-old from Crewe.
That was definitely the goal of the afternoon in that game.
It was lovely.
Whether it was in the whole Premier League is debatable, but
it was reminiscent of Darren Gibson. A young Darren Gibson.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I remember the goal he scored against.
And if he could be half the player Darren Gibson would be.
Do you remember the goal he scored for Crewe in the League 2 playoff final against Cheltenham last year?
Yeah,
that was a fantastic goal, and obviously United have been scouting him for a bit, and it's good to see him getting some playing time, not just being shipped onto the reserves or into the under-21 league. They're putting them on the bench, and obviously they have high hopes for this guy.
Yes, that was the League Two playoff, wasn't it?
Yeah, against Cheltenham.
Yeah, I mean that's a story. That's a hell of a story in itself, isn't it? I mean, we talk about the Ricky Lambert story, but that if he continues like he did in the first game, he could really rival that. Incredible leap. Ferguson saying he could be the next Scholes, he was inferring, but I think that's a little generous as yet, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't make those sort of comparisons, but maybe he certainly has potential. And United is another obviously strong central midfield player, and
looking pretty good.
Tom Cleverley is another one. Maybe if Powell can sort of maybe try and match Cleverley's progress from here on out, because I think Cleverley's going to be a big player for United and England in the next few years.
I think what are we now for the World Cup in 2014?
Yeah,
it could be. We could be seeing Cleverley. Could be saying Cleverley, Powell, in midfield, or do you think that would be too soon?
Cleverley definitely. Maybe not too sure about Powell. Have to see how
Jack
that one
Wilshere.
goes. Yeah, hopefully Wilshere, and maybe Raheem Sterling, Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Raheem Sterling. Yeah, that great left back. Raheem Sterling. United looking pretty good, and another left back, Alexander Butner. Played pretty well. He got a bit of luck. With that goal, but I think he deserved it.
Yeah, I mean there was about 4 defensive mistakes in there from Wigan, and a terrible,
it's a calamity.
Terrible attempt at a save. I mean, how he put it in from that angle, I don't know, but maybe Al Habsi can sort of help us with that one. Why he palmed it into his own net.
Decided to push the ball into the goal, but Fergie's comments that Alexander was played a good game, showed lots of tenacity and courage out there, for such a young man.
Does he prefer Alexander or Alex?
I'm not sure. You have to ask him. I think. I think the Butner is more of a big deal.
Let me just see if I've got him on Facebook.
Oh yes, his status. Oh, great match, lol. Facebook. Good, what a great guy. But Alexander, Ferguson said a lot of work to do really with him. So a bit rough around the edges. It was good to put him in a game we were pretty sure coming away with 3 points, and it gave him a good taste, and it sets the bar for a player. Sets the bar, makes them really work hard, I think.
Yeah, and
when they get a taste,
maybe model himself on someone like Patrice Evra, or Evra's getting on a bit, so maybe that's his chance.
That's the thing, yeah.
Investing in the next generation, that's always good to see. Of course, Manchester City have revealed plans for this whole new youth academy setup they're going to plan to have in place by the start of 2013 season, I think it is. Yeah, so
that was a huge complex in the Eastlands area of the city, and they'll be playing their reserve team there as well, won't they? They'll be housing the reserve team in a ground that they've set up in the centre of that.
Well, yeah, I think that they got rid of the reserve league this time. They've made an under-21 league. So
it's under-21. Is that instead of reserves? Isn't it as well as the reserves?
I'm not. Yeah, it may well be as well as, but they're going to have a big youth complex from housing players from all age. I think from 11 to 21, 16 and a half pitches, and it looks like a great investment, not only in the football club, also as in the area as a whole. And obviously Man City are thinking long term here, and they're hoping to become one of the best clubs in the world. So
just a 16 and a half pitch. Could you explain what that is for the
half pitch?
Oh, there's 16 and a half pitches.
Yeah.
Alright.
No, it wasn't like the unit of measurement or anything.
What's a half pitch then?
What?
Half a pitch.
Yeah. Not a pitch just for 16-and-a-half-year-olds.
No, but I was wondering why they put a half pitch on.
Oh yeah, it's for goalkeeper training. I'm not quite sure why they did
fair
it.
play.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
And,
but yeah, I think a lot of fans, myself included, have criticised City for being, a buying club, and the new what's the basketball team? The Harlem Globetrotters, the new Harlem Globetrotters, and just a load of mercenary players. But this move, it looks more encouraging. It looks like they are gonna look to youth.
Yeah, I mean they
instead of just looking to Arsenal's team.
Yeah, they managed to sell off a few players over the summer. They also got a few players in. Of course, Adam Johnson and Nigel de Jong were the most noticeable departures. Also, Adebayor made a permanent move to Tottenham, but they spent 30 million, which is quite a lot, but not as much compared to last seasons before that, when they spent 30 million on Sergio Aguero alone. And of course, they also brought in Nasri as well. So yeah, they've looked to be investing in younger talent and modelling themselves on a team like Barcelona, of course, who have a wonderful youth set up there. So,
or even United.
Oh yeah, United have a policy of obviously investing in younger players, and yeah, so invest for the future. It's good for this.
It's good for everyone.
Good for the Premier League, and good for the
national side.
Everyone apart from United.
But coming on to the City game then. You were keeping an eye on that one. What went wrong, do you think?
Well, I think, let's be honest, no one really likes going away to Stoke. Like I said last episode, they were unbeaten against, I think, the whole top five last season, apart from, I think, Newcastle were the only team that beat them out of the top teams at the Britannia. So yeah, it's a tough place to go. I predicted a 1-1 draw, and well, that's how it turned out. Having said that, I think Man City will feel slightly aggrieved not to have got the 3 points. The Peter Crouch goal, where he handled it
like
at least once. Yeah,
was the comment by Roberto Mancini. Yeah,
this is not football; it is basketball.
Good impression there.
Yeah. So
apologies to our Italian listeners for that crude accent.
Horrendous impression.
This isn't that. No. Well, yeah. Stoke City, in a typical robust, shall we say, fashion. We saw the elbow by Wilkinson on Mario Balotelli, which is not out of character, I'm afraid to say, for Wilkinson. I remember him kicking Ronaldo around the pitch at Christmas a couple of years ago in the United game, getting himself sent off for that.
Yeah, seems to be the same with a few Stoke players who are, they're rough, let's put it that way. And I think maybe he was lucky to stay on the pitch in that incident on Saturday. But maybe Balotelli has had a tendency in the past to go down a little easily. Maybe that didn't work in his favour, but it was definitely a swinging elbow.
And caught him, for real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And don't forget, Balotelli's just come back from laser eye surgery, so...
Has he?
Yeah. Very inconsiderate.
Yeah, not to take any credit away from Stoke, Asmir Begovic, a great save.
Oh, from Torre, yeah.
Yeah,
that was brilliant.
A wonderful save.
The Peter Schmeichel starfish.
Yeah, it really was. and a great clearance off the line by Shawcross as well.
Yeah, last kick of the game, Dzeko lobbed it over Begovic, and Shawcross
went flying through, didn't he?
Cleared it off the line, and it wasn't meant to be for City in that game. But it was positive signs. Javi Martinez, very impressive debut, I thought. Scored a great header. Another header got saved by Begovic onto the post. He looks like a good player, and I'm hoping he's going to be an upgrade from Nigel de Jong, who obviously got sold to AC Milan earlier in the summer. Couple of other signings. Maicon made his debut, and so did Scott Sinclair.
Yeah, looking good.
Yeah, looks good of the season. I mean, would have liked the 3 points, but then again, I think it's going to be hard for everyone. Arsenal's already gone away to Stoke and drawn. Other teams like United and Chelsea will probably struggle away as so. Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. Chelsea were another one to drop points this weekend in a game overshadowed by the irritating handshake argument. But QPR looking quite good this season. I think my prediction is going to come okay. I mean, they're in the relegation zone, but they've been playing pretty well.
Well, I wouldn't say they've fully, clicked yet. But yeah, like you said, it's a bit unfortunate that the game was overshadowed by this handshake incident and what everyone is going to be talking about. I was kind of hoping there was going to be a thriller when we had 4 or 5 goals and no one would be talking about it at the end, but it will finish 0-0. So Chelsea had a couple of very good penalty appeals as well. I think Hazard was bundled over, Nelson rugby tackled John Terry.
Yeah, I think Chelsea, and then slapped him on the head, I noticed as well, because he went past. But Julio Cesar had a good game, really, kept QPR in it.
Yeah, good debut for him. We all know he's a good keeper.
Having the skipper. Three Lungs Park is not going to do any harm. So
Three Lungs Park.
Yes, Three Lungs Park is a nickname at United.
Just keeps on going.
Yeah, just can't stop going. He's got another lung in there. The Scousers, Liverpool as well, dropping points against Sunderland.
Yeah, 1-1 draw away at Sunderland, where they were definitely better than they were against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago at Anfield. And I think if you look at the stats, you wonder why they didn't win the game. More shots, dominated possession, more shots on target.
Raheem Sterling making a lot of chances.
Had another brilliant game, and unfortunately it was just the same old story of not being able to convert the chances into goals.
And that's where we come on to Suarez.
Yeah,
he scored.
He did grab a goal, perhaps slightly fortuitously, deflected off the legend that is Titus Bramble.
Oh, right, round of applause right there.
Well done, Titus. And but apart from that, he did have his moments in the game, but he was, definitely not one of his finest games in a Liverpool shirt. But another person who actually hasn't got on the mark yet is Fabio Borini. I don't know how much you know about this player. Worked under Brendan Rodgers for a bit at Swansea, then went back to Italy, and they signed him back from I think it was it Roma? I don't want to get this wrong.
Fiorentina, Roma.
Yeah, and but he hasn't got off the mark yet. Doesn't look as though he's the most clinical finisher, and it's what Liverpool fans are crying out for. But unfortunately, they're going to have to wait until at least January. They've sent Andy Carroll off to West Ham.
They should bring back King Kenny up front. I'll be having a look at the Being Liverpool video, a TV series that's being made, which goes inside the dressing room of Liverpool during their not fantastically successful 2011-12 campaign, and so that should be interesting. It's the Kenny Dalglish affair, and we're probably going to have a look at that, aren't we? Going on to the Fulham game, West Bromwich Albion at home. I was pleased to see Berber twice. Berbatov scoring once, had a lovely finish curling into the far corner, and secondly a nice penalty from the spot. Could he be the man this season, do you reckon?
It's a great signing for Fulham. I mean, to pick him up for, what was it, 4 million?
4 or 5 mil, yeah.
Brilliant signing. And that first goal was just, how many times have you seen him score goals like that in the United shirt and throughout his...
Well, not a lot for United.
Throughout his career. Well, when he was...
Fair few,
a few seasons ago, and when he was on the top of his form, even if it was only in the odd game, he was a bit inconsistent, I think it's fair to say. But, I mean, it was a brilliant first goal, and it looks like a great signing for Fulham, who, of course, have lost Dembele and Dempsey. So
Oh, do you reckon there's any truth in what they're saying about what he's claimed about Ferguson and United, that they're unfair on players?
Well, I don't know how much I can really comment on that, but I mean, definitely, he did say that he was promised that he would be part of future plans, and then spent a lot of time on the bench. Personally, I think he wasn't really given a fair chance. Obviously, Ferguson would have picked. Who was it? Welbeck and Rooney most of last season,
and Hernandez was ahead of.
Yeah, Hernandez was ahead of him as well. So, really, fourth choice striker, and I mean, he didn't do that much. He did have the odd dodgy moment or poor game, but I think he was maybe not given a fair chance. But obviously, they decided to ship him on, and that certainly makes sense with Van Persie coming in as well.
That's what it is, though, to be a successful club for so many years and to rejuvenate a team like Ferguson has done many times over. Some people are going to get shafted.
Yeah,
you know, that is what happens. That's collateral. But at Spurs, I think he might.
At Fulham.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. At Fulham, he was at Spurs. At Fulham, there'll be less pressure on him. I think, and that might help him possibly.
Well, hopefully,
and that they'll probably be more patient with him.
Yeah,
and they'll give him a few more starts. I think some strikers need a run, don't they? Need to get a run in the team.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really helpful. So Arsenal, the most striking result of the weekend, slamming Southampton 6-1 at the Emirates.
Yeah, it looks to be all coming together now for Arsenal. Certainly started this campaign a lot better than they did last season.
Yeah, they are.
A couple of 0-0 draws, and all the talk was about, Van Persie, you're not going to score any goals this season, but they've scored 8 in their last 2 games. Only conceded 1, which is very impressive, much improvement on last season. And just looking really impressive. There were signs that they were really starting to gel in the game against Liverpool a couple of weekends ago. And then they really just demolished a Southampton side who are yet to find their feet in the division, although to be fair to them, they have had 3 very hard games against City, United and Arsenal now.
At home to United, away to City and away to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yes, but how is it then that they've played so well and ended up with no points in the division?
I wouldn't say they've played so well. I think they were unlucky not to get at least a point from the United game. I mean, United won the game fair and square 3-2, but having said that, I think they probably...
Sort of fortunate, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Weren't we?
Yeah, Southampton were unlucky. I think they deserved probably a point out of that game. Against City, who certainly looked... That was the first game of the season. City certainly didn't look at the races at all, but very entertaining game, and they looked good. Lambert looked good.
Great goal.
And maybe if they'd just been a little more switched on, I think they maybe panicked a bit when they went 2-1 up, and City managed to pick them off. And then, of course, they weren't at their finest against...
For the Wigan game.
Well, Wigan, I was going to say, yesterday, not yesterday, on Saturday, didn't help themselves out with a couple of own goals. But
but the Wigan game, this one, they could have won if they played like they did against City and against United, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and that's the crucial thing, you know. You are going to inevitably drop points when you're in Southampton's position. You're going to drop points against City and United and the top teams, but sometimes you need to be even more up for the teams that are going to be around you come the end of the season, and Wigan are one of those. So, you know, they could have played really badly in all of the games apart from the Wigan game. They would have had 3 points and be out of the relegation zone, but unfortunately they're rooted to the bottom of the table.
No disrespect to Wigan.
Well, no, not at all.
They might be able to beat Wigan.
We're just comparing them to the likes of City, United and Arsenal. So,
definitely.
Yeah.
So but Jorginho and Podolski, Arsenal getting that fluency back up front, which we used to see from the golden years of Arsenal, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we could start comparing that, but No, they look good. Arsenal fans will be hoping Jovino has a much better season than he did last season.
Only managed 4 goals in the league last season.
Yeah, he was not the most clinical of player. He looked clumsy at times.
Injury? Was he injured for a while? Or not?
Maybe for small bits of the season, not for a long period of time, but they definitely seemed to maybe lose faith in him a bit. But no, he looked good, and Cazorla's a great
he's already
signing.
almost Cazorla. Yeah, he's looking really good. He's attacking mid, isn't he?
Yeah, sort of lost Fabregas and Nasri and Alex Song, and
they're bleeding, but RVP, obviously.
Oh yeah, I was thinking more about in the midfield side of things. So they brought in Cazorla. I think Diaby's looking to fill the shoes of Alex Song. They've got Podolski. Hopefully, he'll be firing. Played really well.
And at the back,
looking
better.
Same faces as last season, but looking much more organised. Big story is obviously Steve Bold, new defensive coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's come in and made them, look so far at least very solid. 3 clean sheets, 1 goal conceded, and that was a bit of a calamitous goal thanks to Szczesny. Not much the actual defenders could do about that.
I mean, he's added that kind of old school Arsenal element. He used to be a player in the old school Arsenal type defence era, didn't he, of the early 90s? And he's added that to complement Arsenal's kind of attacking flair. I think he does need somebody like that. I mean, when was it Pat Rice? When was it Pat Rice retired?
Last season.
Was it end of last season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Steve Bold. It's not to decry Rice, but Steve Bold. Steve Bold is a breath of fresh air, and they're looking pretty solid, aren't they, defensively?
Yeah,
it's all
definitely.
good. And should we go on to preview the Champions League games?
Yeah.
Again, sure. I mean, we looked a little bit. We looked a little bit at these in the
first episode.
In the first episode last week, but a mouth-watering selection really of ties.
Yeah. I mean, the one that jumps out off the page is obviously Real Madrid against Man City.
Oh yeah,
that's tomorrow, which is Tuesday, 7:45 kickoff. I know.
Sky Sports or ITV?
ITV, it's on.
ITV,
and
one.
I will be
good news.
Definitely,
you'll be glued
watching that
like a hawk.
Yeah.
Me too. To be honest.
I mean, there's never a good time to go to the Bernabeu, but maybe this is a good time if there is such thing as a good time to go. Madrid have only taken 3 points out of their first.
They're way down the league.
3 games in Liga, and rumours are Ronaldo's not necessarily happy.
No, not particularly happy at Real Madrid. Was in the newspaper today, and it was met with anger from the British public. He's not particularly loved over here, except by the United faithful. But yes, how can someone with so much wealth be unhappy? It's a rather shallow way of looking at things, I think. And if he's not enjoying his football, he's not enjoying his football, and we'll see what happens. But 60 goals in last season would speak otherwise. 40 before that, 35. He's on fire, I think. He's still a big threat, happy or otherwise, I think, to City.
Definitely. I mean, he's the star man in that Madrid lineup, there's no doubt about that.
But he's not unpartial to a little strop occasionally.
No.
And we'll be watching for that.
Yeah.
Something like that might be the best hope.
I think a Man City on the top of their game would have a chance. But I think they would still be delighted with a point. The only worry I have is Man City's recent history in Europe. Obviously, they only qualified for the Champions League last year, and although they maybe were slightly unlucky not to qualify for the knockout stages with 10 points, they certainly weren't playing as well in Europe as they were at that time in the Premier League last season, where they were pretty much on fire.
Unbeatable, weren't they,
and
for a while?
Yeah, so It's
a test, isn't
slightly concerning because they haven't shown their best colours, you could say, in Europe so far. I'd expect Madrid to win this, but
a tight one.
I'm hoping that maybe we can pick up a draw, which would be a very good point in such a hostile environment.
And then, get them back to Manchester, and then have a real go at them.
Yeah,
you'll have a good shot there. You'll have a better shot, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Bernabeu is a bit of a fortress, isn't it?
Yeah, which is why I said a point would be a good result. I think the key games are going to be against Dortmund. I think as long as you can beat Ajax home and away, which is no easy feat, but we should do that, then hopefully we'll have enough to get past Dortmund. But it's a very hard group, by far the hardest group, as we talked about last episode. I don't know, the other game on Tuesday is Montpellier against Arsenal. Good.
Arsenal off the back of that great result at the weekend, obviously looking pretty good. You'd expect them to be able to go and get something, all three probably, in France. Even though, as you said, Montpellier, great pedigree. I haven't.
Great season last season.
Yeah, but not Champions League history again.
No,
not that Champions League pedigree.
They haven't started this season particularly well. I think the loss of Giroud was quite a big loss last season for them, even though he hasn't made an impact at Arsenal yet. And it'll be interesting to see if Giroud gets to start and what sort of reception he gets there.
Yeah,
and and on Wednesday,
Giroud, we should clarify, signed for Arsenal from Montpellier.
Yeah, this summer he signed, and old club, scored 20 odd goals for them in the French league last season, but hasn't got off the mark in the Barclays Premier League yet. But so moving on to Wednesday, and Chelsea Juventus is obviously looking like a good tie. Man United also host Galatasaray, where they would expect to get 3 points.
I think we would. You can't underestimate Galatasaray, really. A good Turkish side, and it's going to be even harder when we go. We go over there. I think I said last time. But yes, I'd expect us to get 3 points. Ferguson will shake up the squad. I don't think you'll see Scholes and Giggs necessarily starting on Wednesday night. I think you'll see a bit of a different side, a younger side. I think you might see Carrick in the side again. It's going to be a bit late for Wayne Rooney. I think a bit
early.
Yeah, sorry, a bit early for Wayne Rooney to come back. He will be on the bench. He will be on the bench at, for the Liverpool game. Would hope to come on if we need him for the Liverpool game. I think probably.
Would you expect Van Persie to start, considering he didn't start on the weekend?
The Galatasaray? Yes, I would. I'm really excited about what Van Persie can do for us in the Champions League and even the league this season. I think he's looking like a really good player. But he sits level top Premier League of the Premier League top goal scorers list this season, isn't he?
Yeah, 4 goals in 4 games so far. Scored a hat-trick against Southampton. Also scored against Fulham and
early in. Yeah, and he's level with Michu, the Swansea player. Perhaps a surprise name up there. Do you think?
Yeah, well,
early days.
Not many people will have heard this guy. I think he signed from the Spanish league. Was it? I can't pronounce the name of the team he signed. Rayo Vallecano or something. And that was about.
Don't try.
It was about. I think it was only about 2 million. But yeah, Laudrup obviously knew what he was capable of. He's attacking midfielders. Scored 3 goals 4 goals in the first 4 games. Scored in all of his first 3 games. Didn't score this weekend. But yeah, good signing, and hopefully this isn't just the honeymoon period.
Yeah,
and he can carry on and keep this momentum going throughout the season?
Compare those with the top scorers around Europe. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised to see that Lionel Messi is up there, 6 goals. It's the most in the Spanish league, the BBVA, is it?
Well, yeah, I just call La Liga.
La Liga, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, that's about average for Messi, isn't it? 2 goals a game. Just ridiculous this guy is.
Incredible player. Altidore has scored 7 goals in 5 games. Is that in the... what's that in?
In the Dutch league, yeah.
In the Dutch league, yeah.
AZ Alkmaar, the US international. I don't know. I don't watch the Dutch league, but...
No, not a big fan. And after those two comes Stephen Fletcher with 3 Premier League goals so far for Sunderland.
After Michu and Van Persie?
No, yeah, Michu and Van Persie in the Premier League. But Stephen Fletcher has said that he would want to go back to play for Scotland after having a row with Craig Levein, Scotland manager, at the end of last season. You know, he's been effectively left out in the cold, hasn't he, for Scotland. Now Craig Levein has said twice he will never play for me again. What do you think of that?
Well, did he? I thought he said that because Fletcher said he didn't want to play for them.
Well, Fletcher said that about one game in particular.
Okay.
He said that about only the one game, and Craig Levein had enough of it, and it banned him. But it looks like Scotland could really use somebody like that at the moment. Not flying, not looking very good.
Yeah, I mean, an in-form Stephen Fletcher is definitely good enough for the Scottish team, in my opinion. Yeah. I think if he was English, he'd have a shout of getting into that team at the moment. Of course, he was at Wolves last season, and a long season of will he move, won't he move, agreeing a fee. Sunderland was always the team that was being linked with him, and in the end they splashed out £14 million for him. Big summer
fee.
Spend actually, and
on a player that's not a huge name.
Not necessarily, no, but you know, they're obviously prepared to smash the cash. They spent big on Adam Johnson as well.
They did from City.
Yes, I think it was about 12 million. So, yeah, I mean he's proving himself so far. Definitely paying back his transfer fee. Scored 3 goals already, and looks clinical to me. Looks really, you know, he's a poacher.
That's a fox in the box. That's what we like to see in the league. As is Javier Hernandez, who I really hope will get his chance this season. He's a player I like, and he's been out in the cold. He looked distraught when he missed that penalty. He managed to recover to score, you know, a nice little poach finish. I do hope he kicks on, but he's, you know, the signing of RVP obviously will not
the problem with the penalty for Hernandez was that it wasn't inside the 6-yard box.
That's a fair point. It's a valid point. Let's go on now to talk about a couple of the controversial topics, shall we? Of the league weekend. You've got Ferguson condemning the chants by the Manchester United fans, which appear to reference the report that was delivered this week about the Hillsborough disaster. The fans chanting, "It's never your fault. You're always the victims."
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing to know about that it was a minority of fans singing that.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
So, obviously,
but a reasonable chunk. Yeah, that it's enough to talk about, I think. It's a reasonable chunk.
I think they need to draw a line in the sand between football and
tragedy,
and personal matters. I mean, a similar thing, of course. Not exactly the same, but if you remember when Fabrice Muamba collapsed last season, and I think the Spurs fans and the medics there and everyone was, you know, dealt with that.
It was unified
so well
for the world of football.
Yeah,
everyone came together, didn't they?
Yeah, and there was a lot of support coming in from all over, you know, Arsenal fans and everyone. So, I mean, yeah, it's something that we don't.
It has nothing to do with football, I don't think. It has nothing to do with football and something like that happens. It's above football, and we should all be together
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that no one...
Well, in tragedy like that.
No one should go to a football match and expect, you know... and not come back alive, even, you know. It's just... It's one of those tragic events which you know, if Man United fans do have a problem with Liverpool, it's something that is not to be... you know, it should not be linked in with that at all. You know.
Yeah, you know, there's the match next Sunday lunchtime. This Sunday lunchtime, I should say. And I will say it. I hate Liverpool. You know, I'm one of these guys. But there's footballing reasons, and then there's ridiculous. And anyone who connects a tragedy to a footballing matter is a moron. You know, it's wrong.
Yeah.
But
do you actually hate Liverpool though? I mean,
as a club, but not the individual fans. Obviously not, because that would make me, you know, really bit of a strange person if I did.
But you hate them because of their footballing history.
Yeah, the history of the rivalry. Yes, the traditions and the rivalry. You know, not anything more than that.
Yeah.
And I think. Yeah, there's a line. I think you can't let something like this, a pocket of idiots, spoil what is a healthy footballing rivalry. And it was the same in the 70s and the 80s when they used to kick 7 types of shit out of each other on, you know, every time they played each other. Those people were outside of what is the footballing experience, I think.
Yeah,
the true footballing experience. And also what's outside of the true footballing experience is Handshake Gate. You know, we said it before, it overshadowed what should have been a good game. QPR, Chelsea, good footballing rivalry again, and it overshadowed that, and it's a matter between Mr. Terry and Mr. Ferdinand, isn't it? It's not for us all to pontificate about who did what to who, should he have shaken his hand or not.
Well, I don't think there was much surprise for me when the actual event happened. You know, we knew that we assumed he wasn't going to shake John Terry's hand, didn't shake Ashley Cole's hand either, and the actual event wasn't, you know, very interesting.
Wasn't a big deal.
But it does bring on the debate of whether we should have the pre-match handshakes in the first place.
Yeah. It's a bit of a scene, isn't it? It doesn't mean anything to me. The handshakes after the game are a more meaningful thing. And I've noticed that those are not as common. They're not as common since we did this handshake before the game. I like the handshake after the game. I like the centre circle thing. You get a handshake and you get to see them, a genuine interaction rather than a staged, forced show, a charade, really. That is the handshakes before the game with the bloody Premiership anthem playing. Dun, 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 dun. Which is a bit of a pain in the ass. When you should be hearing the fans sing. But this I've shaken hands with someone I really didn't like before. I got on with it. I didn't make eye contact with this person, but I shook their hand because I was in a situation where I had to. And maybe Anton Ferdinand would have, I don't know, helped himself maybe by just gritting his teeth and bearing it. I don't know.
Maybe
but it's not for us to say. We don't know what that feels like.
But yeah, at the end of the day,
the
handshake itself would have been meaningless if only in a hope to put the matter to bed. I mean, that would be really the only reason why he would do it. You know, to hope he can just stop people talking about it and pestering him and all this. John Terry's not shut. You know, he's not a stranger to controversy. Exactly.
No, he's not. It's the second time he's been refused a handshake, isn't it? It's been the second time. I'm not a fan of GT and the big man myself, but no, it was all settled in a court of law, and that's where it should stay. Once something is thrashed out in court, that's where it should stay, really. And John Terry was proven to be correct in a court of law, and there's nothing else that we can say because we don't know any better. We weren't there. We don't know.
But scrap the pre-match handshake. Just shake the hands after the match.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. And unless there is any other business, then that is the podcast for this week, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah, we just would like to say that if you guys could subscribe, if you enjoy the content, hopefully we can get out a podcast regularly. Also, that's our YouTube channel, which obviously you will be on now. Also, Twitter page at Studs Up Podcast, and Facebook, like the page.
Studs Up Podcast. Yeah, one more thing we forgot. We were talking about top scorers, but we just digressed a little bit. Josh, a Bristol Rovers fan, asks who we think will finish top scorer at the end of the season in the Premier League and in the Champions League. Who do we think? I'm going to say I wouldn't rule out RVP. I wouldn't rule out Rooney himself to come back from injury and do something. You know, I know second place last year, and RVP again possibly for the Champions League. You know, that's fingers crossed. You know, fingers crossed that United go all the way. RVP could challenge. Obviously, can't look past Lionel Messi for Champions.
Yeah, I think it'll be Van Persie and Tevez. I personally think Tevez will be Man City's top scorer this season because I think he looks really good so far from what I've seen.
You think
Lena definitely, and
lost a bit of weight.
Yeah, I expect him to outscore Aguero and Balotelli this season, and I think he could bag himself, as many goals as he did when he tied Berbatov for the top score a few seasons ago. Can't remember with how many, but I would expect him to score 25-30 goals a season. As for the Champions League, obviously it completely depends how far teams go, but I think you can all assume that the likes of Real Madrid,
Cristiano Ronaldo,
and Barcelona will be there, so probably Messi is the obvious choice, Ronaldo is the obvious choice, and I don't know, possibly Bayern Munich. Expect them to have a good campaign again, and someone like Robin or Gomez. I'm going to say Gomez.
Okay,
why not?
Something different. Yeah. Any verdict on my RVP shout for Champions League?
I don't know.
Well, it's early, isn't it? I mean, we'll see how he does in the group.
It depends. Yeah, I mean, in my mind, Man U have a fairly simple group, so there'll be opportunities for goals in there. Possibly, expect him to be up there as well. Should be great.
Yeah, what we didn't say is Man City a group of death, really.
Well, I think
they do have
mention that.
A really
everyone knows that.
Everyone's aware of that.
Where have you been living if you don't know?
Yeah. Okie doke, then.
It's not fair.
Who do you think will be Player of the Year then this season? The FA Premier League Player of the Year, Barclays Premier League.
I don't know. Who won? Can you remind me who won it last year? Van Persie, was it? He won some sort.
I'm not sure. You've got me there. I can't remember. Cannot remember who won it last year.
Top player. I think maybe someone like Vincent Kompany. I think he's a fantastic defender, one of the best in the world, and a couple of ones from Man City, Yaya Toure, and
RVP was Player of the Year last season. Sorry to interrupt you, but the yes, I think it's RVP. Yaya Toure is playing really well. Someone from United or City or maybe even Arsenal, I think.
Cazorla, he's a dark horse, I think.
Yeah,
he looks really good, and Hazard as well. Look out for those guys.
I think it's looking quite a good season at the moment. Looking at the table and looking at the form of the players, I think it's possible we could have a 4-horse race up to early spring. Vincent Kompany was the Premier League Player of the Season last season. Yeah,
that's a good choice for him. I don't know if they're not that likely to give it to the same player back to back as anything.
No, yeah, it's always a stumbling block, isn't it?
Vidic won it 2 times in 3 years, and Ronaldo won it twice in a row. So did Lampard. So
exceptional Ronaldo. That 2006 and 2007-8 when he scored 42 goals. Just to take you back. But yeah, a 4-horse race, do you reckon? At least to February, March time.
Yeah, looking at Arsenal at the moment, I mean, we said 3-horse race, but they've started playing so well and they look so much better defensively than they did last season that I would expect them to be there or thereabouts, but I still think it will be between the two Manchester clubs.
Okie doke. That was the Studs Up podcast for this week. We'll see you again shortly. Okay, for me, James Wood, and him, JG.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
We'll see you next time.